March 18th, 2024 work session for the Douglas County Board of Commissioners will come to order. Welcome, citizens of Douglas County. County Clerk, would you please take the roll for the record?
Yes, sir. Commissioner District 1, Ricky Dobbs. I believe he is absent. Commissioner District 4, Mark Alcarez.
Present.
Chairman Phil Miller.
I'm here. Quite a unique situation. There's three commissioners available to you right now. One of them is deployed in Italy, and we're having elections for the other two. So according to our county attorney, vice chair and myself make a quorum. So we're going to continue with the meeting today, and hopefully it'll go quicker. Commissioners, are there any changes that should be made to the agenda?
No, Chair.
As a reminder, each commissioner will have 3 minutes to make remarks with a 2-minute rebuttal. Clerk, did we have anyone sign up for public comment?
Yes, sir, we did. And before I call anyone, I would just like to go over the instructions. When you reach the podium, please restate your name, address, and subject matter for the record. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. Once you've reached your 3 minutes, please bring your comment to a close. Also, when you approach the podium, please adjust the mic and speak directly into it. So the first citizen who signed in is Jocelyn Wallace.
Honorable members of the Board of Commissioners, my name is Jocelyn Wallace, 8380 Grady Street, Douglasville, Georgia. I'm honored to stand before you today as the founder and executive director of the Never Alone Clubhouse Addiction Recovery Support Center in downtown Douglasville. I extend my deepest gratitude for the opportunity to address you. For the past 15 months, I have had the privilege of serving as Douglas County as the director of the Behavioral Health Crisis Team stationed at Douglas County's Fire Department Station 7. Our team was funded by the Douglas County Community Service Board and has been instrumental in providing essential emergency crisis response to individuals in our community. Regrettably, recent funding challenges have forced the defunding of our pilot program. As a team, we respond to all behavioral health crises, offering immediate assistance for crisis-related mental health and substance abuse. Our mission extends beyond the crisis intervention. We provide on-site connections to services and ongoing support for a minimum of 2 years. Regrettably, this has changed drastically over the last 2 weeks. The ramifications of withdrawing funding from our program are significant. As of December, we have handled 2,145 calls, 844 referrals to services, diverted 573 cases from emergency room departments, and facilitated 183 referrals to substance use treatment centers, 259 referrals to peer support. These numbers transcend more than statistics. These represent our neighbors, our family members, and our friends. Today, we implore you to seek a solution to preserve this vital program in our community. Despite exhaustive budget reviews, we have been unable to identify alternative funding sources. However, I'm cognizant of the county may receive opioid settlement funding, and our program directly aids individuals grappling with opioid use disorder, and I feel that it would be a prudent allocation of these funds. In closing, I urge you to consider the profound impact of our program and the well-being of our community and explore avenues to sustain it. Together, we can ensure that no one facing behavioral health crisis in Douglas County feels alone or unsupported. Thank you so much for your attention and consideration to this.
Thank you. And just to let you know, we're working on it.
I know.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Cindy Burnett.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Cindy Burnett, 5821 Saracen Trail, 30135. And my husband and I celebrated our 45th anniversary yesterday. All 45 of those years have been in this county. Raised our children here. I taught in Douglas County school system for 25 years. We do all of our shopping, support the businesses here, pay our taxes. We're registered voters and vote regularly, as do all of our friends. So I say all that to qualify myself as a Douglas County citizen whose opinion should matter. And I wholeheartedly support the co-responder program. Do you know what it's like to have a peer support specialist sit with you and say, I know what you're going through. I too struggle with mental health challenges. I know what it's like to struggle with substance use disorder. I do know what that's like. I'm also in long-term recovery from alcoholism, and peer support specialists have saved my life. So much so that I became certified myself. So I want my county, and I say that very proudly, to be in the forefront of this movement of peer support. People with lived experience sharing their stories and their hope about what's worked for them. And it is a movement if you do the research. I want us to forge ahead and be in the front of that. Show people how it's done. People looking at us, to see how to do this. So I hope you will listen. My husband is back there. He agrees with me totally. He just lets me do the talking. But I hope you've heard what I said, and take it to heart, and let's get those co-responders back to changing people's lives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Chloe Sadowski.
Can you hear me through this? Or is it too high?
Speak up just a
Okay.
little if you would.
Honorable members of the Board of Commissioners, my name is Chloe Sadowski, 3816 Cindy Drive, Douglasville, Georgia, 30135. I'm honored to address you today as a provider of the Douglas County Behavioral Health Crisis Team. I've served as a co-responder at the Never Alone Clubhouse, stationed at Station 7, Douglas County Fire Department, working on C shift. In my role, I respond to all behavioral health crisis calls. I have witnessed firsthand importance of this program to our community. Through our interventions, I have had the privilege of seeing individuals in crisis receiving support they desperately need. These ongoing interactions have allowed me to witness their resilience as they overcome their challenges. This work is deeply personal to me as I'm a child of a mother who struggled with substance use disorder and mental health challenges. I've seen the impact of the inadequate support systems firsthand. Fortunately, my mother is now sober and a pillar in our community. Programs like ours were not available during her darkest days, which is why I am passionate about ensuring others receive the support they need. The loss of the funding to our program has been devastating, both to us and the community we serve. I stand before you today to urge you to find a way to continue our vital program. Think of the 573 diverted calls we handled last year, our 833 referrals we were able to make. This program is more than just a service, it's a lifeline for our community. Let us work together to explore avenues for sustaining the essential program. Our community deserves nothing less. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, David Wilson.
Morning.
Good morning, esteemed members of the Board of Commissioners. My name is David Wilson, and I reside at 2320 Mountaintop Road, Winston, Georgia, 30187. It is with a heavy heart that I stand before you today, representing the Never Alone Clubhouse Addiction Recovery Support Center. Sadly, due to recent funding changes, we are no longer able to sustain the Douglas County Behavioral Health Team, a program we have proudly provided to our community for over a year. As a person in long-term recovery, I understand firsthand the critical need for support services in our community. Having served in ministry for years, I am deeply passionate about helping others, and now as a member of the Douglas County Behavioral Health Crisis Team, I have had the privilege of providing crucial support to individuals in crisis. What sets our program apart is our commitment to not only offering immediate assistance, but also providing ongoing support for a minimum of 2 years. This continuity of care has had a profound impact on the individuals and families we serve, enabling them to lead healthier, happier lives and continue to thrive in our community. The recent funding changes from the Douglas County Community Service Board have left us in a challenging position. Without their support, we are unable to continue providing these essential services to our community. Therefore, I stand before you today, alongside my colleagues, to appeal for your assistance in finding a solution to our funding concerns. Together, let us collaborate and explore avenues to ensure the continuation of this much-needed program. The loss of this program would not only be a travesty for our community, but also a disservice to those who rely on us for support during their darkest moments. Thank you for your attention for this matter, and I sincerely hope that together we can find a way to persevere this vital lifeline for our community members in need.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Candy Florence.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, good morning, esteemed members of the Board of Commissioners. My name is Candy Florence, and I reside at 3849 East Bridle Court, Douglasville, Georgia. As a dedicated member of the Never Alone Clubhouse and co-responder for the Douglas County Behavioral Health Crisis Team, I've had the privilege of serving our community. However, it is with a heavy heart that I stand before you today asking for your help. Recently, we received the devastating news that our program has lost funding from the Douglas County Community Service Board. This loss is not only significant, but also deeply concerning for the well-being of our community. As my colleagues have expressed, our program provides 24/7 access to behavioral health services and offers ongoing support for a minimum of 2 years to those in need. We come before you today to request assistance in finding the funding necessary to continue our program. While we are actively seeking federal funding, we believe that the county could utilize the opioid settlement funds to sustain our vital services. With your support, we can ensure that our community members continue to receive the critical care and support they deserve. I urge each of you to consider the profound impact our program has on the lives of those we serve. Together, let us work towards securing the resources needed to uphold our commitment to the well-being of our community. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Terrence Jeffers.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning, esteemed members of the Board of Commissioners. My name is Terrence Jeffers from 8380 Grady Street, Douglasville, Georgia. I stand before you today not only as a proud resident of Douglas County, but also as the husband of Jocelyn Wallace, the dedicated director of the Never Alone Clubhouse and the Douglas County Behavioral Health Crisis Team. While I may not be a lifelong resident like many who have spoken before me, I've moved here in 2020 and quickly come to cherish Douglas County as my home. Witnessing the invaluable support my wife and her team provide to our community during the darkest times has been nothing short of inspiring. As someone who has faced personal struggles with mental health, I can attest firsthand to the importance of having such resources available in the community I moved from. Such support was sorely lacking. I commend each of you for recognizing the significance of this project in our community. However, the loss of funding has placed us in a precarious position. Despite exhaustive efforts to explore every avenue of our budget, we have been unable to find financial means to sustain the vital program. We are acutely aware of the opioid settlement money soon to be distributed across Georgia counties, and we believe that allocating a portion of these funds to our program would be a judicious use. Additionally, we are actively pursuing federal funding to provide long-term stability to this program. The 2,100 calls our team has responded to in just 1 year are not just mere statistics. They represent our friends, neighbors, and family members. Our community members rely on this program, and it's our collective responsibility to ensure its continuation. I urge each of you to join forces in finding a solution to fund the essential programs. Our community's well-being depends on it. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Shay Bennett.
Hey y'all, good morning.
Morning.
I just want to take a moment and thank God for each one of us being here today, being chosen. My name is Shay Bennett. I reside at 3664 Sandra Drive, Douglasville, Georgia, 30135. I stand before you today not only as a resident of Douglas County, but a person in long-term recovery. Since childhood, I have struggled with mental health disorders and learning disabilities, but I am proud to call Douglas County my lifelong home. My roots run deep in this community. My mother dedicated over 2 decades to her own business as a cosmetologist on Bankhead Highway, while my father served faithfully in the Cobb County school systems. My brother and I were born and raised here, instilled with the values of hard work and community spirit. Currently, I'm employed at the Never Alone Clubhouse as a certified peer support specialist, providing support to individuals with addictive diseases. As someone who's walked the path of recovery myself, this work holds immense personal significance to me. Equally vital is the presence of the Douglas County Behavioral Health Crisis Team, which I have witnessed firsthand transform lives within our community. The intercept model employed by our team, from on-scene crisis intervention is ongoing support at our facility, has yielded remarkable success in recovery for individuals and families alike. As a court advocate myself, I champion the cause of individuals with substance use disorders and co-occurring mental health challenges, advocating for essential treatment services and facilitating diversion programs to reduce criminal involvement and foster societal reintegration. The impact of behavioral health crisis team extends beyond individual lives and mitigates unnecessary incarceration and criminal entanglements, fostering a safer and more supportive community for all. It is imperative that we, as a community, prioritize the continuation of funding for this vital program. I implore each of you to join hands in ensuring the sustained provision of this invaluable service to our community. Together, let us explore avenues to secure the necessary resources to uphold the mission of the Behavioral Health Crisis Team. Thank you sincerely for your time and consideration in this matter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Laura Huggins.
Good morning, esteemed members of the Board of Commissioners. My name is Laura Huggins, and I reside at 3181 McCown Road, Douglasville, Georgia. As a person in long-term recovery and an employee of the Never Alone Clubhouse Addiction Recovery Sports Center, I am deeply committed to serving our community. In my role as a certified peer specialist in addictive diseases, I have the privilege of serving as the Never Alone Clubhouse jail coordinator, working to support individuals facing incarceration due to untreated mental health and substance use disorder. Every day I witness firsthand the urgent need for diversion programs in our community. Countless individuals and find themselves incarcerated unnecessarily, their lives derailed by untreated mental health and substance use disorders. The Douglas County Behavioral Health Crisis Team has been a lifeline for our community for well over a year, offering critical support and intervention when it's needed most. It truly saddens my heart to stand before you today and acknowledge the loss of funding for this vital program. As a community, we must recognize the importance of programs like ours in improving the health and well-being of our residents, as well as providing essential support to families impacted by substance use disorder and mental health challenges. Douglas County should be proud to have been one of the first counties to implement a co-responder program. We are pioneers in the developing innovative solutions to address the needs of our community, and other counties have looked to us for leadership in implementing similar programs in their communities. This program is not just important, it is essential to the well-being of our community members. I stand before you today alongside my colleagues with the hope that we can collaborate to find ways to continue funding for this incredible program. Together, let us work tirelessly to ensure that our community members receive the support and care that they need to thrive. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you. Chairman, there were no other presenters this morning. I do
Okay.
want to state that Commissioner Dobbs is now online.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Dobbs, for what you do. Next on our agenda is the meeting minutes. Commissioners, please review the minutes before tomorrow's meeting. Next, we have the financial report. Please prepare to accept the financial report for the month of February during tomorrow's commission meeting. We will now begin with our agenda items. Clerk, please begin with the first agenda item.
Thank you. We will have two public hearings tomorrow. The first one is approval of a new on-premise beer, wine, liquor, alcohol license for Mist Austell LLC, located on 376 Maxim Road, Austell, Georgia. Allison Duncan here is here to give you a briefing and answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners. As the clerk has read into the record, we do have a public hearing tomorrow. This is for an applicant, Mist Austell LLC. They are proposing a restaurant that will serve beer, wine, and liquor by the drink at this facility. We have reviewed their application. All notices have been posted, and so we have found that this to be compliant with their request, and we do recommend approval of their application. And we'll have a public hearing tomorrow. The applicant, I don't believe is here today, but will be here tomorrow, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have today.
Okay. Any comments or questions? Commissioner Dobbs?
No, sir, no questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Our next public hearing for tomorrow will be for Connect Douglas, proposed route changes and Title VI plan. Ron Roberts is here.
Good morning, Chairman,
Morning.
Vice Chair, Administrators. Yes, I came to y'all last month and asked to let you know that we wanted to hold the public hearing. In conjunction with that, we've also been doing some public meetings down at the MMTC and letting everybody know that on May 1st, we want to move to the new routing that was outlined in detail in the Transit Master Plan. So this is really for our future triennial review, which we go through every 3 years with the FTA. It just looks good to have the public meetings and then also have the public hearing to go with it. And the Title VI update is something that we do every 3 years as well. So if you have any questions on that, that's the item that we'll have for the public hearing.
Questions or comments? All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll move on to grants. Number 6 is authorization to accept the FY24 AG 2439 5310 voucher program grant in the amount of $67,934.38 from the Atlanta Regional Commission with an in-kind match of $13,586.88 and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Ron Roberts.
Hello again. This is our normal funding that we get from ARC for our voucher program. As you know, our voucher program has really grown. We have over 240 persons that are in that program. Jessica Hunley is the staff member that's assigned to that, and she does a really good job of keeping up with it. We have about 12 private providers. The seniors that are eligible and that are in the program are able to take advantage of transportation through these private providers using the voucher. They can purchase up to $400 worth of vouchers for $20 every month. So it's a good program, and the amounts were included in my budget as well for this match. So it's just a continuation of funding. It's coming a little later this year. Usually has drops in the fall, but we're here today to accept it and move that forward. And the contract has been through legal as well.
Okay. Questions, comments? All right.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Number 7 is authorization to accept the FEMA-GEMA hazard mitigation grant to pay for the updated Douglas County Hazard Mitigation Plan in the amount of $24,444, with $21,999.60 from federal funds and $977.76 from state funds, with a local match of $1,466.64, as well as a management cost of $1,532.25 to be funded through the 2025 emergency management budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. James Queen.
Morning.
Good morning. This is to do the hazard mitigation plan update that's required by law every 5 years. The last update was done in 2021. This update's due in 26. It takes about a year to complete the entire process. So we are going to fund this out of the 2025 budget. We'll put all of that into the budget for next year and fund the contracts through that.
Any questions or comments?
No, Chairman.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 8, authorization to accept a mental health court grant from the Council of Accountability Court Judges Funding Committee in the amount of $20,283 with no match, amend the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Teresa Gordy.
Good morning, Chairman, Vice
Morning,
Chairman,
dear.
Commissioner. This is a supplemental funding for our fiscal year 24 grant fund for the mental health court. We were able to apply for this funding because our census drastically increased from last year when we initially applied for funding to now. So this funding will be used to pay for mental health treatment and surveillance. And part of the reason that our census increased so much was due to the 2 ARPA-funded positions that we have, because those positions are going into the jail and they're sitting at magistrate hearings identifying potential participants early so we can get them into the program faster.
Okay. Questions or comments? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll move to our business items. Number 9, authorization for the chairman to execute an employment contract with Camilla Pagan to fill a vacant ARPA-funded position as legal staff assistant in the Public Defender's Office, effective March 18th, 2024, pending final legal review. Monica Miles.
Good morning.
Morning.
So this is a request. We have an open position as a legal staff assistant. The position's funded through the ARPA grant money that we get from Georgia Public Defender Standards Council. So we're just asking to approve a contract for Camilla Pagan. It's no cost to the county since it's completely funded by the grant.
So it's completely funded by the ARPA grant, is that what you
It
said?
is. This is about maybe the 5th or 6th person we've put in this position, because
Okay.
everybody, because it's not permanent, so it's hard to keep folks in the position.
Okay.
We will be asking, as this grant money is running out, for this to be made
When does it
permanent.
run out?
Potentially July. I've discussed this with the folks at the Georgia Public Defender Council, and they're not sure how much longer they're going to be able to extend it. So that's kind of up in the air.
Okay.
This is a position that we've been asking to have made permanent for numerous years. I mean, we've used the money to fund a position that we desperately needed in our office.
And what does the position do, if you don't
It's a
mind?
legal staff assistant, so we utilize that person at the front desk, answering the phones, answering all the
Right.
individuals that come to our window, and providing support for the attorneys in the office.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any questions, comments?
How much
Vice
is that
Chair?
position?
How much is it?
How much does that position pay?
I think keeps changing. Just bear with me one moment. I want to say 44,000.
So if it runs out in July, then we'll have to bring that on as an additional funding for your department for $44,000 a year.
Yes, sir.
That wasn't, I'm guessing that's not in your budget to fund the rest of it. If it ends in July,
It wasn't approved. It was asked, but.
it wasn't approved. Can't imagine. Okay, all right. Anything else?
No, Chairman.
All right, thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 10, authorization to change the name on a car allowance agreement, adding Kelsey Smith in the amount of $4,800 annually effective March 18th, 2024, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Laura Thompson.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, we had an ADA to leave, and so we have hired a new ADA, and so we have just put this new ADA in the position of the car allowance.
Did the old ADA have a car allowance?
Yes, sir.
4,800?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Thank you, dear.
Thank y'all.
I think I told you not to come here and ask for more money.
Number 11 is authorization for the chairman to execute an agreement for services contract for various vendors utilized by juvenile programs, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Jennifer King.
Thank you.
Morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
This is pretty easy. These are our vendor contracts we renew every year to pay for provider services. These are all over the threshold that was recently set. So we have 5 of these are grant funded only. The remainder are a combination. Some of them are paid through grant funds and some are paid through my budget. And they're just various amounts for therapy, mentoring, educational support services, various services like that.
And these are in the budget?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Questions or comments?
No, sir.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 12, authorization of a contract renewal with Yellowstone Landscape Southeast LLC in the amount of $928,800 for 8 cycles of mowing and litter pickup services on an array of county roads to be funded by Public Works and DOT Maintenance's budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Heath Cowart.
Morning.
Good morning, Chairman, Vice Chair, Madam ACA. Sir, so this is a renewal for the third year. It's the litter and the grass pickup. We've been very happy with Yellowstone for the last 2 years. So this will go out. This will be the third and final year. It'll go back out to bid, and then we'll bring in all the vendors. So everybody can have a chance at it, and go from there. But we're super happy with what they're doing. So it's our recommendation to keep them going this year.
Where do they pick up trash?
Where? On the street, like the county roads?
All county roads?
They focus, they cut the grass and trash. They focus, and there's a list. I can get it to you. It was approved by the Board of Commissioners back in 2016. So it just keeps rolling over. We've added additional, like litter pickup teams in-house, and we cut more than they cut. This is I think a 260-mile total linear feet of grass cutting in-house. We're cutting about 500. So we're doing double the work, but we don't have the people to support everything.
Okay, I guess the sheriff, well, I know they were running short of people, so
Absolutely.
The people that used to have the people out on the side of the road
Yes.
picking up trash, I don't guess they're available right now.
No, sir. When
or
they
at least
are,
limited.
they're out there.
Yeah.
I've got them on speed dial. I request all the time.
Yeah, okay. All right. Any comments or questions?
Yes, Chairman.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Is this price the same as what we were paying last year?
Yes,
For the
sir.
previous contract?
It's already budgeted.
Okay, all right. That's
Thank
all,
you,
Chairman.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Next.
Number 13, consideration of proposed 2023 merit system changes recommended by the Personnel Review Board regarding sections 13-125C for sick leave, 13-124A for vacation leave, 13-124D maximum accumulation, and 1358D employee rehire policy. Danielle Nichols.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, Commissioner Dobbs, and the administration. On an annual basis, the Personnel Review Board holds a public hearing regarding the rules and regulations of the county's merit system, which was conducted February 12th. The outcome of this year's hearing resulted in the Personnel Review Board recommending 4 proposed changes to the merit system. In your packet is information that outlines particulars pertaining to each section of the proposed change in the merit system, to include how the code currently reads, how it will read if the proposed changes are accepted, along with commentary from the Human Resources Department that will serve to assist with definitions and highlight any financial implications associated with each proposal. For the purposes of today's discussion, I will provide a high-level overview of each proposal and answer any questions as they surface. So I would like to begin with item number 1, which is related to section 13-125C, sick time. The proposal is to expand the definition of the licensed medical professional that can sign a medical certificate related to sick leave to that of a licensed advanced provider. And advanced practice providers are individuals who are licensed to practice as physician assistant certified, advanced practice registered nurses, certified nurse midwives, certified registered nurses, anesthetists, so someone who does anesthesiology, or clinical psychologist. There is no financial impact associated with this proposed change. Any questions regarding that proposal?
Any comments?
So
Mr. Vice Chair?
we're looking at changing this to where even a physician's assistant can write someone a sick leave letter to turn into to the county.
Yes. And just as a matter of context, it is now more commonplace for patients to see a physician's assistant or a nurse practitioner or a midwife in lieu of a physician.
I guess I could understand some of those, but I would think if it's a physician's assistant, the physician's going to be very close by. I understand that, registered nurses, I've seen them quite a few times. I've had to go to the doctor, but that's just a couple of them that I just have a concern about, just allowing that broad of someone to be able to assign sick leave for someone in our county.
So if I can expound for a moment,
Sure.
Mr. Vice Chair, essentially what the certification will do is acknowledge that the individual or our employee has actually seen the physician and has some sort of medical condition. It won't give us any details. It won't certify anything with regards to sick leave other than they were out. And it would be up to us as the county to make a decision on whether we approve that sick time that's requested.
Okay. I'll yield back, Chairman.
Okay, anyone else? Okay.
Okay, so moving on to agenda item number 2, which is related to section 13-124A, vacation leave. The proposal is to decrease the amount of time a new employee must wait before being allowed to use accrued vacation leave. Currently, new employees have to wait until 1 year of service is completed before accrued vacation leave can be used. The proposed change is to reduce the waiting period from 1 year of service to the successful completion of the probationary period, which is currently 6 months. From an HR perspective, this change will increase retention within the first year of employment as it marries utilization of accrued vacation leave to the completion of the probationary period, which is more realistic and aligns with the waiting period of several of our sister counties. There is no financial impact associated with this change. Any questions?
So, let me get this straight. If you've been here a year, you get a week's vacation, right?
Yes.
But if you're hired and you've served out your 6 months period, you get a year's vacation after the 6 months.
Yes, so this doesn't change the accrual amount. What happens currently is an employee has to wait 1 year before they can use any of the time that they've accrued.
Okay.
So we've lost employees because life events happen, they need time off, they had previously scheduled events, and they could not take the time off because the current code indicates you have to be here, you have to work at least 1 year before you can use your accrued vacation time. There are instances where department heads may approve someone to take time off without pay, but obviously from an HR perspective, that is not the optimum approach if we have the benefit available and the employee has accrued it.
Okay. Anyone else?
Okay. The next agenda item, number 3, is related to section 13-124D, maximum accumulation of vacation leave. The proposal is to add a provision that offers cash payout of vacation leave for hours that exceed the maximum accumulation at the end of each year. The rationale for this proposal is to allow full utilization of all accrued vacation leave, which will eliminate any loss of accumulated leave. So what happens currently within Douglas County, during the last pay period of the year, any hours above the maximum accumulation amount, which is 35 days, is deducted from the employee's vacation leave balance and added to their sick leave balance. In reviewing the cumulative vacation leave data for employees in the county in 2022 and 2023, it is estimated that this proposed change will result in an annual financial impact of over $300,000, which will likely increase over time as employees attain more time in service. So as their tenure increases, they are eligible to accrue more vacation leave. There is also an additional financial implication associated with the county's required annual contribution to the pension plan, which will be determined once pension actuaries are generated. We also evaluated the vacation leave of several sister counties, and that information is in your packet, and one municipality, which is the city of Douglasville. Most of those evaluated have a use or lose component, whereas Douglas County allows rollover into employee sick leave balance. So essentially, while the employee won't be able to use the overage from vacation accrual perspective, that time will roll over and be added to their sick leave balance. And when they either leave the county or they retire, that will be added to their years of service in terms of their tenure. Are there any questions?
Any comments, questions?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vice Chair.
So, just to make sure I understood this correctly, if they want to, what's being proposed is at the end of the year, instead of rolling that over into sick leave, they're wanting to get paid for that amount of time, correct?
Correct.
And that could equal up in regards to all of our employees over $300,000?
Yes, on average.
On average.
Mhm. And as tenure increases, that amount will go up because each employee will have a larger accrued bank of vacation leave.
So if they work more overtime, then more time would be added to their vacation pay, which means they could get more money at the end of the year.
Well, it would not be added to their vacation pay, but it will impact the line item budget for overtime. So that will result in an increase to the budget as well, yes.
I mean, I may be out of line here, but it kind of sounds like double dipping. But
so it is a significant impact financially, which is why most organizations have a policy where you use it or lose it. We are more generous in that we don't have that particular clause, but we do make provisions for there to be some sort of accommodation for the time earned, and it rolls over into the sick balance. But companies do implement a use it or lose it policy because it can be a significant financial burden to an organization.
I don't know of any private sector company that would offer that to be done. You're exactly right. It is a huge impact.
Mm-hmm. In my experience, it does not happen in private sector.
Yes. Okay. And over 300,000.
On average.
On
That's
average, just on
estimating
average.
what the balances were for employees in 2022 and 2023. We did not factor in the current balances of 2024 because it's so early in the year, but on average it would be over $300,000.
Okay. I just asked for my chairman and my fellow commissioner to really consider that one, because that impact of $300,000 could go to programs such as those who come and spoke before us this morning.
Absolutely.
That could impact our county in a positive way instead of impacting our county in a negative way. So I would like to ask for them to consider that, and I yield, Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Dobbs?
No questions. Definitely we'll look into to consider it as well.
Well, I'm under the same opinion. We've got 40 firemen to hire next year, is that correct?
Yes.
I guess with equipment and everything, that's probably going to be close to $4 million.
I would imagine close to it.
We got 2 judges that have been approved by the legislature, a Superior Court judge and a state judge, plus their staff, plus we have to make room for them. CSB is asking for more money, and we need to consider those issues. We have a building that we're considering buying so we can make room for the judges, and plus we have to renovate that. Our budget this year was $127 million, and if we raise that next year, then taxes are going to have to be raised along with it. So those are the considerations that the Board of Commissioners have to make. There's got to be enough money to go around for everybody. And in order to do that, we have to be careful about the way we spend money. Anyone else? Thank you, dear.
Thank you. And then the final agenda item, number 4, is related to Section 13-58, subsection D, Employee Rehire Policy. The proposal is to change the current rehire policy from 61 days to 365 days. The rationale offered for this proposal is related to the timing it typically takes to onboard, which can exceed 61 days, and to align returning to Douglas County with the military's return policy. This proposal was submitted last year. The board at the time did not support changing the rehire policy to 365 days. However, they did approve changing the policy to 6 months. Unfortunately, the Personnel Review Board was not able to accept the approved change by the Board of Commissioners because the approval was not rendered within the 60-day window time frame required by the merit system. So employees have presented that change again to the Personnel Review Board, and they approved it for your consideration. From an HR perspective, it is not unreasonable to consider a rehire time frame within 1 year of departure, in particular for public safety positions or hard to fill professional and technical positions, and we have many of those within the county. Benefits for changing the rehire policy include allowing the county to recoup some of its investment in recruiting, specialized training, and certifications, and bringing back top talent. But also, I want to share pitfalls to consider, which include having boomerang employees. So that's a cycle of employees that come back and forth based on personal or professional reasons because they feel like this position may be more stable, they have familiarity with it, and we definitely don't want to create that type of environment. And it will cause the county to go back to square one with respect to all of the recruiting, training, and professional development, or it could result in some and resurrecting some challenges if that exists with any of those returning employees. When the HR department evaluated several of our sister counties and municipalities, their rehire policy ranges from less than 6 months to 12 months with adjustments to service dates and no reinstatement of leave balances. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have about this proposal.
I certainly agree that this ought to be an option for public safety. Public safety has to be certified. A lot of money and expense goes along with hiring somebody in public safety. They have to be certified. They have to go to school. Then there's a training program at the sheriff's office, and I'm sure the fire department. So we got a lot of money invested in them. And if they quit and they want to come back, that saves us all the training expense. So it would be beneficial, especially in jobs that required a lot of training, such as a fireman or the sheriff's office. I kind of like that idea. Any further comments?
I agree with you, Chairman, in regards to public safety. Employees, you leave, you've left the 60 days to, I would think, max 90 days, but, we'll see how we vote on that. But in regards to public safety, I agree. I think it should be 1 year because there's a lot that goes in and there's a lot of money spent by the county training these individuals, which I think would be a savings in the long run if we allowed them to come back. But 6 months for other employees, that'll just have to consider, and we'll just have to see how that vote plays out. I yield, Chairman.
Any more comments? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have certificate or preliminary plat approval for Chattahoochee Meadows Conservation Subdivision. Bill Schaefer is here to present.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair. Let me get this up real quick so we can see this one. So this morning, what we've been bringing to you is the results of the Development Review Committee, which spent last year reviewing this particular subdivision through several iterations. We finally were able to get approval from the Development Review Committee in December, on December 8th. The property is located on Caps Ferry Road. It consists of about 713 acres. It's currently zoned RA, residential agricultural. That's a 1 acre minimum lot size. But under their proposal, what they would like to do is develop a conservation subdivision. So in exchange for 40% of the lot not being developed and being retained by a different entity, they would be developing under the RLD standards, residential low density. That gives them the opportunity, since it's proposed to be on sewer, of 15,000 square foot lots rather than the 1 acre lots. As you can see, they're congregated up at the top there in the middle, and they're allowing most of the property to be undisturbed. In this case, what we also had an issue with was making sure that 609 homes are going to have a homeowners association. They'll have covenants, obviously, and they'll be operating the homeowners association for the common properties and all the amenities that would go with it. So in addition to the conservation component, which will be physically operated by another entity, not owned by the homeowners association, but by a separate entity, it'll be deeded over. And that was the negotiations we've been in now for several months with the applicant. So the project, providing 390 acres of open space out of the 700 acres, that represents about 55% of the overall property. It's going to include active play area and amenities for the owners. The homeowner association maintains all of that common property. However, an authorized nonprofit entity must be granted a conservation easement by deed. And they're the ones that will operate and maintain the open space within that subdivision. The applicant has supplied a letter of commitment from the Oconee River Land Trust, an authorized conservation entity under the state statutory requirements, and they're now in negotiations with that entity to take that on. That's quite a chore, since that's a separate ownership interest in and amongst all of the homes themselves. And so it takes some effort to get that actual final agreement done. As you can recognize, the subdivision application exceeded the Atlanta Regional Commission's development review of development of regional impact for 500 units. It was more than that, so they had to go through a DRI process. That was completed May 15th of 2023 for the Georgia Regional Transportation Authority, and then the Atlanta Regional Commission completed their final report May 19th of last year. The letters were submitted, they were in the packet, so if you wanted to review those. They're incorporated into the plat you see here, and some of the requirements that they'll be going through in our Development Review Committee are going to address some of the requirements that came out of those two approval processes. So they'll get caught by the Development Review Committee in terms of applying them. Staff is recommending approval and authorization of the Certificate of Preliminary Plat Approval and accepting in principle all right-of-way dedications as shown and required under the UDC, and allowing the chair to sign all documents related thereto, pending legal review as needed, with the following condition. Number 1, no permits for clearing, grading, or land disturbance shall be issued until a formal conservation easement agreement is submitted to the planning and zoning manager, having been duly executed between the developer and an entity authorized under the state of Georgia statutes governing such activities. So that's the only condition we would ask of you, is that they be required to have that executed before we grant any land disturbance permits. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
This 40% of the land that they're giving us, they're not really giving it to us. It's floodplain, isn't that correct?
Well, some of it's floodplain, but that not all of that can count towards that 40%. There's some arithmetic in the code that forces you to give up actually developable land so that it comprises that 40%. So there's buffers for the rivers, and there's other issues that they have to stay away from. Some of that land, about 10% of that, can be included in that 40%, but the majority of it has to be developable land.
Okay. What about the school system? Have we discussed it with the Board of Education?
So we're in a meeting, I think, is it tomorrow? I can't remember exactly. It's this week with one of the school board members to discuss what we're going to have with this particular project. For up to this point, the county does not have impact fees adopted, so that there's no method for us to attach a fee to each of these lots in order to assist the school board with its requirements for, obviously, overcrowding. We've not had that in this county, though many states have that, and Georgia does allow it. We just haven't implemented it here. So you are correct, but we are going to be discussing with the school board what we can possibly do here.
Well, and fire department and public safety?
Same issues, yeah, exactly the same.
All right. Questions, comment?
Yes, sir. Now, I see my fire chief sitting back there. Chief Allen, can you come up here for just a moment, please? Good morning, Chief.
Morning.
Let's have a quick question, Chief. 609 homes. We have that small fire station down in Fairplay. How big of an impact is this going to make to that area with that department?
So that will make a major impact to that particular fire station. 600 homes. You're also adding the addition at Foxhall. You're talking preserve life. The station is already overtaxed because of the growth in the community as it is already. We do value time and distance when we're responding to emergencies, and that station right there is pretty much left on an island for a long time with the growth that's happening.
Okay, that's all I needed here, Chief. Thank you. So currently they are RA, so they would only be able to develop, is there a guesstimated how many lots they'll be able to develop in that, which I know some of that is floodplain, if it stayed RA?
If it stayed RA, they would have the right to develop something quite a bit less than what they're proposing, quite a bit less. I haven't done the arithmetic to see exactly what it is, but 609 total units is still 0.85 units an acre. So if you divide it against the entire acreage, you're not exceeding the density of the RA itself. You're just congregating the homes in tighter fashion so that they'll fit in the property. But you are correct in the sort of the view in your mind's eye. If you try to take 700 acres and divide it by, theoretically you would have 700 homes. But in reality, obviously, there's environmental issues, and you couldn't build in a lot of that area anyway, so you would never get that yield.
All right. Would your department be able to maybe get us those figures before tomorrow, please?
Sure.
If it was to be 1 acre lots?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I yield, Chairman.
Just, Mr. Fire Chief, just give me a guess at what a new fire station would cost, and including the people to man it.
For that particular area, well, if you look at what we're doing with fire station number 9 for the industrial area, for that particular area, which is District 4, you're looking at a 3-bay fire station with an additional 6 or 7 people per shift. You're looking at a few $1 million.
It's probably going to cost us about $4 million with equipment and everything to hire those 40 down at Station 9, isn't it?
Yes.
And that doesn't include the price of the fire station or the cost of the fire station itself, does it?
No, sir.
So probably $7-8 million ballpark.
And that's a rough guesstimate.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to item 15, authorization to enter into a memorandum of understanding between Douglas County Fire Department and the Never Alone Clubhouse to provide 24/7 behavioral health crisis support to the residents of Douglas County, to be state funded until May 2024 with no impact to the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Chief Allen.
Once again, good morning, Chairman, Vice Chair, County Administrator, Chairman Dobbs. Yes, we're looking at entering this agreement with the Never Alone Clubhouse because of the issues with CSB and the funding for the co-responder program. This move over here would actually allow us to keep the co-responder program going up until May, until any additional funding for Never Alone comes in effect.
Questions, comments?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vice Chair.
All right, because you and I have had a conversation about this, but, you know, I want our citizens to hear this as well. How big of an impact have they made to your department?
I'm sorry, once again, sir.
How big of an impact have they made to your department?
The co-responder program it's made a big impact in our responses, not just for the citizens, but also for our own firefighters that respond also because of the traumatic emergencies that we do respond to. And when you look at the suicide ideation and behavioral emergencies that we have, we just don't respond to fires. I mean, our 87% of our calls are EMS, and a large portion of those is behavioral health.
Okay. All right. I yield, Chairman.
But you would still respond even with the help of...
Most definitely. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Number 16, approval of an addendum number 1 to professional administration services contract with Allen Smith Consulting, Inc. for grant administrative services as it pertains to the Senior Center building on Fairburn Road in the amount of $48,000, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Director Gilchrist.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair of County Administration. Yes, this addendum pertains to grant administration services for the Fairburn Road Senior Center and at grant administration services, and due to your gracious award of ARPA funds, we would like to extend that contract with Allen Smith Consulting.
Questions, comments?
Okay. No question.
We're good.
Number 17?
Do what? I'm sorry.
Number 17 is mine.
Oh, okay. Number 17, approval of an addendum to the master contract with Jericho Designs for engineering and architectural services for the redesign of the Senior Center building on Fairburn Road in the amount of $197,950, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
It's the same thing for architectural services and engineering for the Senior Center.
Okay. We're good. Yeah, we
That's it?
support that.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Number 18, approval of change order number 6 in the amount of $19,500 on the contract with CMES, Inc. in connection with the Lee Road widening project, number 4428, to be reimbursed by the Douglas County Water and Sewer Authority, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Director Rana.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners, and County Administration. This change order is for Lee Road Phase 2 widening, which is currently under construction. The project limits are from I-20 to Fairburn Road. This change order number 6 deals with accommodation and dispute resolution of WSA and DOT's contractor, which is CMES. First part of this change order is to resolve a on-site material placement dispute between the contractor and WSA, and this is a compromise price that they both have negotiated. The second part of this includes an accommodation to our proposed drainage design to adjust for a future WSA project to minimize inconvenience in the future and, of course, reduce the cost in long term. And the entire amount is reimbursable by WSA, and our finance department has already received the check for the total amount. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Comments? Thank you, sir.
Okay, Director Solomon has several of the next items. So we'll move on to number 19, authorization to execute a time extension change order number 7 with CMES, Inc. in connection with the Lee Road widening project, project number 4428, with no impact to the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
Following along the same project, this contract is between the county and our contractor, which is CMES. This time extension is in order with the time extension approved by the board in October of last year for GDOT and the county contract. So this is a series of dependent contracts that have to be extended accordingly. So this current one extends the construction duration from April of this year to November, end of November of this year.
Questions, comments? Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Number 20, authorization to execute a time extension supplemental agreement number 1 with WSP USA Environment and Infrastructure, Inc., formerly Wood Environment and Infrastructure, Inc., in connection with the Lee Road widening project number 4428, with no impact to the budget, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
Again, following along the same project, and this is one of the series of the same dependent contracts. WSP is our CMT construction material testing firm that serves for this project. This time extension is in accordance with the other time extensions for different contracts, and the budget amount remains the same.
Questions, comments?
Number 21, approval of a contract with Excelir Construction LLC pursuant to solicitation number 24006 in the amount of $604,800 for the construction of State Route 5 at Douglas Boulevard right turn lane project to be funded from the 2016 SPLOST funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
This is a SPLOST 2016 project. This is city-county joint project that was advertised for construction. The project was on hold due to some right-of-way acquisitions in the prior years. We were able to resolve all right-of-way conflicts and acquire the possession of the required right-of-way towards the end of last year. We advertised for construction, received 8 responses. Excelir Construction, based out of Cobb County, were the lowest bidder, and they're also a DBE firm. We're recommending their contract approval. Thank you.
Just for my information, how long is that turn lane?
It's about 800 feet.
850 feet?
Yes, 800, give or
Okay.
take.
I just noticed traffic's backed up to Arbor Station
It is.
when you come up through there most of the time, so.
Right.
Okay. All right. Any more questions, comments? Thank you, sir.
Okay. Number 22, approval of supplemental agreement number 2 with Michael Baker International in the amount of $31,609.05 for engineer of record services during construction of State Route 5 and Douglas Boulevard right turn lane project to be funded from the 2016 SPLOST funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
So Michael Baker International was our prime designer for the same project. The design was completed, and while in construction, we will require their EOR services. This price includes roughly 165 hours on as-need basis to resolve any on-site design issues that may come up. We would request their extension or supplemental agreement for us to be able to use their services for the entirety of construction. This is the second change order. The total amount of the contract comes close to $200,000 for this project. But then again, this is funded through SPLOST, and half of this would be reimbursed by the city. Thank you.
Yeah. Questions, comments?
Okay.
Next.
Number 23 is authorization to accept .478 acres of right-of-way donation on Mount Vernon Road from LBA Logistics, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
This is a proposed warehouse in city limits at the intersection of Mount Vernon and Lynch Road. Just because the development faces the county portion of Mount Vernon, or a county road, they were subject to UDC requirements. Upon DRC review, they had deficient existing right-of-way. This donation makes them compliant to our UDC and really gets them going on their construction.
Questions, comments? Okay.
Okay. Number 24 is approval of a professional services contract or agreement with Atlas Technical Consultants LLC in the amount of $124,000 in connection with pavement evaluations of all county roads to be funded through SPLOST 2022 funds, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review.
Douglas County owns roughly over 800 miles of roadway. We performed our first ever evaluation in 2019. Our goal is to repeat this exercise every 5 years to stay current on different roadway uses, plan and request funding accordingly, and of course program our resurfacing, our yearly resurfacing accordingly. Atlas did this professional services contract in 2019. We're requesting their approval for this time around, given their existing pre-database that they'll be using, their familiarity with the county and the project in general. The goal is to have this evaluation completed within under 6 months, and that would be right in time for us to be applying for next LMIC grants for the following year, and then programming resurfacing for the upcoming year, roughly in September, October timeframe. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions, comments? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have number 25, authorization to execute a fiscal year 2024 budget letter from the Department of Family and Children Services in accordance with the approved budgeted amount of $6,875 per month, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Tiffany Stewart Stanley.
Good morning.
Morning.
This is just our annual budget letter that the Department of Family and Children Services requires that the county signs just to have an agreement for the funding that we provide to them every year. At the last meeting, the Board of Commissioners approved the MOU for us to enter into an agreement for the $82,500. This letter just goes to the Department of Family and Children Services outlining our agreement and the fact that we will be giving them $6,875 per month, which equals the $82,500 per year.
Okay.
Thank you.
Questions, comments? We're good.
Okay, thank you. Next, all we have is approval of expenses, which is approval of the former Vice Chair Carthen's reimbursement expenses for the month of February 2024 to be approved tomorrow.
Okay. Questions, comments? All right.
That concludes the agenda.
Okay. Please review the expenses before tomorrow's meeting. Are there any other commissioner comments? Mr. Dobbs?
None for me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we need to go into executive session?
No, Mr. Chairman, there's no need for executive session today.
Wonderful. All right. We have a motion to adjourn.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you, folks, for coming out.